What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics. It's National Week, boys and girls. Finally here, the much ballyhooed, so much content produced, top 5 things I'm bringing, top 10 things I'm looking for, top 7 things to do, top 6 things that you shouldn't do. So much national content, and the national hasn't even happened yet. And fret not, I'm sure I'll probably do some similar type video this week leading up to the national myself to hop on the old bandwagon. There's also been a ton of news the past few days as companies begin to get their announcements out leading up to the national. We have pretty much covered everything on the channel up until this point, except for, which it's probably coming on either Monday, probably Monday's video, is SGC announced their raw card review plans for their on-site grading, how they're kind of going to be handling that. I'm not going to go into a ton of that here. I'll talk about that in depth tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am going to do a breakdown of all the on-site grading options at the National with the big 4 companies, and I'll probably kick that conversation off with kind of what SGC is doing, my thoughts on it, because there's been a lot of discussion about it, both on social, on other YouTube channels, etc. And I have some thoughts. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Beyond that, I have my first CSG slab review video coming up this week. Probably a video about what I'm bringing and what I'm looking for at the National will also be dropping this week. And then I'm not sure beyond that. National content wise, I don't know what I'll be posting and when. Videos up and through Thursday will be pre-recorded and go up as normal. Starting from Thursday on, it's just going to kind of be whatever happens. Last year, what I did is just recorded daily recaps in the hotel room before I went out to the show floor in the morning, uploaded them, and went out. At minimum, I will probably do that. I know myself and Flipping Steve are staying in the same hotel. Maybe we'll try to get together for a live stream at some point in time. I don't really know. The National, you get pulled in 1,000 different directions. But I will be putting up videos. It probably won't be at the regular 9 a.m. time. Also, I could pretty much guarantee there will not be a Sunday weekly market update next week. I'll probably push that till the beginning of the week or just skip it entirely. Once again, I'll be traveling back from the National on Sunday or potentially even going to the show on Sunday morning for a little bit, just depending on how things go. So if there's news and there's announcements, I'll try to get something out talking about it. It might not be up until some weird time. Who knows? The National is a whole lot of not sleep and a whole lot of running around like a crazy person. And this year's will probably be even more wild like that because of the spread out nature of it. I will say, I'll throw this out there now. If anyone knows trade nights or what hotels people are setting up in, anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. If you're at the show, feel free to DM me. I know I'll be at Ryan and Card Collector 2, the official trade night on Thursday night. If there's an after hours thing after that, or any pop-up ones on Friday and Saturday, everyone's going to be so spread out. So communication is going to be key. If I find something, I'll do an IG post about it or Twitter or something like that. Of the news stuff I already talked about this week, I don't know if there's anything we really need to revisit. There's the Beckett PWCC partnership. The SGC thing, once again, we'll kind of talk about that tomorrow in a little more depth. I don't know if there's anything we necessarily need to hit on. The PSA New Jersey office, according to Nat, is open. Their vaulting service thing is now live. We'll probably begin to see more and more of that, as well as we kind of discussed in that video. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments about any of the new stuff down below. And with that being said, I would not be surprised if something else happens before the National even we get there. I expect another SGC announcement. I don't know if it'll come pre-National or maybe right after the National, but Peter said in his IG Live the other day that they have more coming. I wouldn't expect something else out of the other grading companies or a macro move. There's been a ton of rumor and speculation about, some much larger things potentially happening either right before or right after the National, but we'll see. Those same rumors and speculation have been flying around forever. Mostly regarding, potentially new Fanatics acquisitions, but that's nothing new. That stuff's been out there for months now. So we'll see if something ever happens with that, with them potentially acquiring Panini or whatever ends up happening there. But there's been tons of noise about something happening with that, either before the National, at the National, or right after the National. So we'll just have to see how that situation plays out. With that being said, today's video is sponsored by our friends over at Myslabs.com. So once again, shout out to them. I will be potentially doing something with them on Friday. I don't know yet, but regardless, I'm excited to meet Ken and Matt in person, because I've not had the pleasure of that, along with a lot of other people. A lot of shenanigans going on this week at the National. But excited to meet those guys. Might be doing something with them. Not 100% sure on the final details on that. A lot of stuff was up in the air with the National. But shout out to Myslabs for sponsoring today's video and sponsoring a lot of videos on the channel. I had actually a phone conversation with Ken the other day. They got some exciting stuff potentially coming down the road. So let's get a quick word from them, and then we will come back and dive into some data.
The platform designed by collectors for collectors just got even better. Myslabs.com is proud to now feature dedicated sections for both raw cards and raw comic books. Browse over 100,000 slab collectibles, authenticated by the industry's most trusted grading companies. Then check out a massive selection of sealed wax and now raw singles and raw lots. Join a passionate, no-nonsense community of nearly 50,000 members and enjoy some of the best buyer and seller protection in the business. And as always, Myslabs offers one of the most disruptive pricing models in the hobby, with seller fees as low as only 1%. So the next time you're forced to pay 10%, 20%, or more to sell something from your collection, head over to Myslabs.com, the low-fee marketplace by collectors for collectors.
Once again, thanks to Myslabs for sponsoring today's video. Another website that you should be checking out, if you're not, is Gemrate. Obviously, talked about him a ton on the channel. Look forward to seeing him again at the National this upcoming week. We're going to dive into Gemrate data first. I'm just going to throw this in here because I was going to do a separate video on it. There's just not time this week. So I just figured I would just toss it in here. We talk about it real quick. I just wanted to do a very quick update on NFL Prism and the population counts at each grading company. This is something we've kind of been tracking, on a week-to-week basis, looking in on to kind of see how NFL Prism, where the demand for grading is with these companies. So as we sit, I am recording this mid-afternoon on Saturday. PSA total graded is 2285 with a 25% gem rate on Prism Football. SGC comes in at 2005 at a 29% gem rate. Then we have CSG in third with 338 with a 20% gem rate. And then Beckett in fourth, which I know 190 total graded, 35% gem rate. I know there was like a day that he missed, but I don't think one day is going to swing this number a ton either way. So there is a chance this number could be slightly higher, but I don't think it's like thousands higher or anything crazy like that. So PSA continues to lead the way. SGC nipping at their heels. Once again, part of things that we have to consider here with these numbers is not necessarily complete data, so that we can draw some conclusions from this, but we cannot draw, final, firm statements on anything. SGC has zero backlog right now. I was talking to Bobbles and Ball Cards in Discord, and then he mentioned this on because of Carlos's Friday night live stream. He sent a group submission order off. It got delivered at like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and it had been graded by 6 p.m. that night. And Bobbles and Ball Cards is a very large SGC group submitter for those that aren't familiar with him. He has a channel on YouTube you could go check out, and a Facebook page. So the turnaround time was 7 hours. It wasn't days. It was how many hours it was sitting at the building. So SGC their pop report is like up to the second, essentially, in regards to how much Prism they're getting. PSA, we're probably still not seeing things sent in an economy, so keep that in mind. The PSA and SGC pop report are pretty close because a lot of the stuff going to PSA is higher dollar only. Probably the only thing still on that population report are things set at the $100 level. I don't think we're seeing $50 things hit at that level yet. most $50 economy orders are taking the pretty close to the full 90 days right now, between 60 and 90 days. Prism Football hasn't even been out that long yet, so I don't think we're seeing that data filter out. I did not look. Basketball is in here. Let me see if any basketballs popped yet. Okay, basketball PSA. This is Prism Basketball. They have 56. I expect SGC to be ahead of this. 156. Not surprised by that at all, because once again, you have like a 24-hour turnaround time with SGC for it to get on their pop report. For PSA, the only thing that would really be on there would be like Super Express, like monster cards. CSG is a 0 right now, and I would imagine Beckett is as well. Beckett is 5. A gold, a mojo, an orange wave, a red, and a silver with only a 20% gem rate. So can't draw much conclusion on the gem rate data on that. But once again, just interesting to kind of see where we are with demand for grading services. And as we continue to see, the demand seems to be sitting with PSA and SGC. That has nothing to do with secondary pricing value. I'm strictly talking about consumer demand for a particular grading company, for their services, not for the slabs on the secondary market, not about how good or bad someone grades, which slab you like better. That's the only reason why we're using this. There's a whole other bag of cats to consider when you start talking about the other stuff. What kind of cards are getting sent where? I get it. Everybody calm down. Mostly Becca people. Relax. Relax. Let's go ahead and dive into market movers. I'll throw this out there now. They have some really interesting stuff coming at the National. Speaking of market movers, I got a sneak peek the other day of what is coming for them. It is really slick. If you want to check out market movers, link is in the description down below, along with a coupon code to get your first month for $1. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the tool. I've been using it for the entire existence of the channel. I've never had any issues with it. Great platform, and it is only going to be getting better. So if you want to hop on board, now's a pretty good time, as they have some exciting stuff coming. They also have some new pricing tiers coming out. But Jeff teased that on Off-Centered about a week or two ago. So look forward to that coming out of the National, as well as they will have some news. And once again, I expect a ton of news. I'm probably going to need a whole news video roundup after the National is over for all the nonsense going to be coming out from everybody. Let's go ahead and check in again, as we have been the last couple weeks. Prism Football. This is just over the last 7 days. We have, once again, silvers. Just kind of paying attention, not so much at the number, but who's kind of leading the pricing war. And you could see by the price change, this is over the last 7, things are still kind of finding themselves. Most things are still slightly trending down. 3% drop, 12% increase, 20% drop, 30% drop. So I don't think this stuff has necessarily quite found its bottom yet. It's been on the market for almost, I think, 2 months now, or close to 2 months. So it should be starting to settle in pretty quick here, but not quite yet. But we still have Mac Jones in first place at $160, followed by T-Law at $130, Trey Lance at $60, Jamar Chase just under $50, and then kind of scrolling down a little bit. Zach Wilson at $43, Justin Fields at $41, Davis Mills at $30, and then we get in Parsons at $20, Najee Harris at $18, Joe Burrow second year, don't fall into that trap. Kyle Trask, Jalen Waddle, Justin Herbert second year, don't fall into that trap. Once again, nothing really jumps out to me there as like, oh my God, let me go run by that. Now, if you're can acquire these cards clean, raw to send in for grading, that's a different story. I'm not going to run out and buy a slightly off-centered Mac Jones silver for $160. That's just not my shtick. But if I found a Mac Jones in the wild that looked clean for $150, sure, I'd take a chance on it. Play the grading game. The grading game is 100% back in play, and probably one of the best ways, if you have a good feel for it, to profit right now in the sports card world. Moving over, we're going to do the exact same thing with basketball. Same thing. 21 Prism Silvers. I'm actually going to blow this out a little bit deeper since this stuff is still pretty new and has not been on the market very long, so we could kind of see the big drops in stuff. Basketball, I'm very curious to see how this shakes out, because there is not a clear-cut one guy. It appears, as of recording of this video, that it's Jalen Green, backed up behind that by Jonathan Kuminga. I am very surprised by that. That's very intriguing. But right now we have Jalen Green at $200. And retail is not hit for this. So once again, keep this in mind. These sales counts are going to look low because we don't have retail yet. It is just hobby boxes. So only 16 Jalen Greens have sold. Only 15 Kumingas have sold since the product has come out. But Jalen Green, right under $200. That's a 250% decrease from when it first hit. Kuminga actually up quite a bit. I'm surprised he's getting so much love. I like him as a project player, but his stuff is going to go way down in season most likely. He's just not going to get minutes. And guys not getting minutes, just going out there playing 15 minutes a night, his stuff's going to come down. I would wait to buy him in season. We have Cade Cunningham in second at 160. In third at 160. I'm still so surprised by that Kuminga. There's no way I would pay more for Kuminga than Cade. And maybe that's just an outlier sale. I didn't go in the look. So potentially maybe that is, that $67 jump. Maybe it's actually like in the 120s. Either way, that still seems high for him. And he is a player that I like long term. Cade Cunningham, 160. Not surprised by that. Pistons, they're going to be feisty this year. I don't know that they're going to win a ton of games, but they are going to be feisty this year. That is for sure. Scotty Barnes, reigning rookie of the year, getting no love down at 130. Evan Mobley right there with him at 130. Once again, don't be concerned by these huge red drops. This is 100% normal. We see this all the time. We have Josh Giddey at 113. Scrolling down, Moses Moody at 60. Josh Christopher at 50. Franz Wagner at 50. Primo, Herb Jones, Sengun, Bones Highland, John Morant second year. Don't fall into that trap. Jalen Suggs at 30. And then LeBron James 67th year card. Don't fall into that trap. Davion Mitchell, that actually seems pretty reasonable for him for Prism Silver. This down here, Quentin Grimes for $17.50. These are the guys, if you could pick them up like at a show for super cheap and you could send them out for low end grading, and you don't mind waiting to take a flyer on it. These low end rookie NBA silver prisms, if you could send them out on that $18 service level, get them out in the next week, and just kind of take a flyer on it, if you have a good eye for it, that could potentially be easy profit if one of these guys gets a little hot. Yeah, you're not getting it back till March, but on a Quentin Grimes, do you really care? You're paying $15 for the card, and take the player out of it, but just someone in this $15 to $20 range. You're spending $20 in the card as long as you know that it's clean and you have a reasonable idea that it's going to gem. And then $18 to grade it. Let's just call it 20, round up. So you're into the card for like $35, give or take, plus shipping to and fro. But if you got a group of orders going in, that gets split up between the cards anyway. It doesn't take much for that guy to hit to make profit on that. It's not huge wins, but that's the state of where we're at right now. You don't buy a Lucas Silver for $2K and sell it for $3K a week later anymore. Those days are gone. You have to go back, at least in the realm that I play in. I am circling back to how I built the bankroll initially with raw to grade and making more lower end plays. I'm still buying mid and higher end stuff, but I'm being much more choosy on it. You could take a lot more shots on this lower end stuff with your bankroll. That's the way I'm kind of switching back to approaching it, is kind of going back to how I got rolling back in 2020 with raw to grade, grading paper Donruss Zions that I would buy the card for back then, $15 to $18 raw, spend $10 to $12 to send it to get graded. It would take forever, sure. Back then, you get it back in 6 or 8 months, but that would be $100 to $150 card back then when I got it back. So, that's a Zion base, but you could see the same thing for the same price point. So you're into the card, you're into the grading for maybe $30, $35. Back then, you'd be able to move the PSA 9s for about that. So you'd kind of break even, maybe take a slight loss. But if you hit a PSA 10, you'd make like $80 to $100 depending on the card. And, you send 10 cards in, 4 of them get a PSA 10, 6 gets 9s, take a little bit of a haircut on the 9s, but you make the profit on the 10s. That's how you build your bankroll. That's how you get the snowball rolling down the hill, and then you go buy more and rinse and repeat. We are back to that now. Maybe that's worth its own video, but raw to grade is 100% back in play again. Let's talk about some individual cards and players that have absolutely gone crazy this past week, and it's mostly baseball related. We had the home run derby this week. Julio Rodriguez kind of stole the show. Juan Soto won. We'll talk about him in a minute, but J-Rod definitely stole the show. He was the talk of the week. I have a feeling he will be a very popular name at the National, just given how his stuff has been flying this week. This is over the last 30 days. His stuff's through the roof. This is his PSA 10, just base Mojo refractor. It's up 77% in 30 days. His PSA 10 base Chrome Prospect up 84%. First Bowman Prospect Refractor Auto. So the PSA 10 Refractor Auto out of $499. That's up 20%, up to almost $5K. His PSA 10 just base Auto up to just over almost, let's just call it 2,200, just shy of 2,200, 26% increase. His base refractor hasn't moved. That's because one hasn't sold in about 10 days. So that's why that one is showing a slight decrease. If one of those sold today, it would probably be the same thing, up about 20% from that last sale. So J-Rod stuff's going wild. Honestly, we're going to talk about this on the next slide. If you have J-Rod, especially like this, if you have J-Rod base chromes, PSA 10s laying around, you should 100% be selling those right now, in my opinion. Same thing with this Mojo. This base chrome is not going to be that rare. There's already 6,800 of them on the PSA 10 pop report. I know it's from 2019 Bowman, but 7K is not that rare. That's pretty freaking common. Move them. Same thing with this Mojo. 2,500 almost on the pop report. Just move them. Huge increases like this. He's super liquid right now. Sell them. Take them to the National. Sell them. Listed on eBay. Sell them. If you have a first Bowman auto, maybe you want to play a little bit different with that. I get it. Maybe he's the next best thing. But let's talk about this for a second. I almost made this its own dedicated video. But once again, we're just short on time this week. And I'll just wrap it into this. This is Julio Rodriguez's PSA 10 first Bowman auto. Pretty much the gold standard for a player. Obviously, the refractor, as a higher tier, but this one transacts often enough that you could pull some pretty good data from it. And I'm going back a year on this. So this is a 1-year chart. So last fall / end of season, he was going for between $1,700 and $1,500. You could see in the middle of the off season, in early November, he got all the way down to $1,500. He spiked up a little bit to around 2K, back down to around $1,700 in that range right here. This is in March. This right here, this big spike up where it got all the way up to 2,700. This is when the news came out that said that he was going to make the roster, which a lot of people didn't think was going to happen. But with the new rules that came into play, it made teams more willing to bring these guys up to start the season. So his stuff spiked way up, $2,700, and it went right back down again, 22, 23. There's a 22. There's an outlier there at 18. Another one at 2. And now we're into the season actually starting 2,800. So you have two really high sales there and some stuff in between. And God knows how many other transactions it shows or whatnot that were pretty high up there. The point was, and I've said this a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it, and this backs up this example perfectly. When these announcements happen in the spring, just sell it all, in my opinion. What do we say? They let you buy them back. And this is a perfect example of this. And I liked J-Rod. I don't own any of his stuff. I remember when we had Filmington on before the season started talking about prospects. And he mentioned, hey, J-Rod's probably the guy that's got like the most hype, best stuff behind him, and was the one that he was most intrigued with. I agree with him over Torkelson and Wander and some of the other guys, Bobby Witt. J-Rod was the one that I was intrigued with the most. I own none of them. It's fine. When these guys get the announcement they're going to call up, just sell it. Look what happened to him. His stuff got up, let's just call it 2K plus, because like I said, there's a 27, 28 sale. Those are kind of outliers. There's also a bunch of $2,200 sales. So let's just call it 2,200. In this range right here, from the time he got announced to call up until early April, you had about a 1-month window where you probably could have easily moved one of his autos for $2,000 to $2,300, let's call it. What happened? He had a little bit of a slow start to the season. His stuff dipped, and then he kind of stabilized. Go look at his numbers. He is having a fantastic year. Fantastic year. All it has done, him having a breakout season, putting up huge numbers, having tons of buzz behind him, has basically kept his prices flat. We have 20, there's 2K, 2,200, 22K, 2,200, 2K, and then it dipped down in the summer, 17, 19, 17, 17. When I say 17, it's like 1750. There's actually a 16 and spiked up, then back down again, 18, 18, 17, 19. And then obviously this past week, it's kind of taken off again because of the home run derby stuff. My point is, look at how good his season is. How many prospects have a season that good out of the gates? And all it has done has basically kept his prices flat. And if it wasn't for the home run derby appearance to rejuvenate his prices, he'd still be down from the call-up highs. This is just a perfect example of just sell it. Sell it at the beginning, buy it back later, unless you got something super, super rare. And once again, if you're a true collector and you're a huge Mariners fan or UPC J-Rod for whatever reason, then most of this gobbledygook you probably don't care about. But if you're in this to flip him and then come back and buy him back later, make a little money on the side, and then use that to either go buy another J-Rod card or whatever, I personally think this is what you should be doing. I felt this way for a while, and typically the numbers back it up. Once again, he's played fantastic, no doubt about it, and his prices were still trending down up until the home run derby. And the home run derby brought him back up, in some cases right at, I don't think he really got above, I didn't look at every single card, of where he was in the preseason. Just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind. Next up, Soto, just really quick. I know we're running really long here. Soto got a nice little bump this week. He's been on a heater for a while. The last couple weeks leading into the All-Star game, he has been super hot, and then he obviously had the All-Star game appearance. This is looking at over the last 30 days. All his stuff is basically up. Pink is up 35%. The first Bowman BGS 9 is up 46%. PSA 10 up 50%. PSA 9 up 40% on his auto. PSA 10 Rainbow Foil up 14%. He's up, and up across the board. Of course, because I wanted to buy him at the National. Soto first Bowman Chrome was going to be one of the cards on my list for the National, but that's coming off the plate now because I'm not buying into him when he is super hot right now. Just doesn't make sense. So his stuff was all shot back up. The trade rumors on top of all that. He is as hot as J-Rod is. Those are the two hottest names in the baseball market. Two other cards I want to take a very quick look at, hopping over to the NBA really quickly. This is Steph Curry PSA 10 paper tops. This card has basically gone right back down to where it was pre-finals. There was another sale just recently at $8K, which puts it back to June 6th pricing. Actually, it puts it all the way back to May 30th pricing. Essentially has completely reset the finals run-up. Once again, we see this all the time. Prices spike in the lead up to the event and then usually crash after the event, even if the event was a positive. In most cases. Seen this time and time again. Happened with Steph. Happened with Giannis. Happened with LeBron. The run-up is usually the best time to sell, and then you could probably swing back in after the fact and buy them back. Last one, Donovan Mitchell Silver. His names continue to be in trade rumors. Sounds like he is most likely going to end up on the Knicks. It seems like it's just a matter of when and what exactly for. He got a nice little spike based off that. We've talked about this before. He was sitting in at around 350-ish. He has spiked up to 550, and the last couple sales have stayed right at 550. So we'll see if that pulls back after he's traded or there's another level up and then he hangs there. I could see that happening, but the trade is now baked in already. At least some of it is. Maybe it's not all the way done yet, but it's close. That's a $200 bump just based off of the strong rumors. The fact that the Jazz said we are going to deal him had jumped the price. So if he gets moved, maybe we don't see another huge jump. Maybe we do because if it ends up being the Knicks because of the Knicks factor. I don't know. But just bear that in mind if you go running around trying to buy Donovan Mitchell. Go try to find something that hasn't jumped yet. I think most of his stuff has, but you might be able to find something in an older comp or whatever that doesn't transact as often. Maybe this week at the National in a bargain bin or at a table with a dealer that, hasn't updated his stuff. Who knows? But Mitchell, in general, should have a little bit of bump priced into all his stuff. So if you could find something priced at pre-trade shenanigans happening, might be a good pickup. But I think most stuff has had that built into it already. That's all I have for you guys and girls today. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down below. Once again, National Week. I think the other thing I'm going to do this week, I forgot about this to mention it earlier. I've gotten a ton of requests for a comp breakdown of the various grading companies again, comparing the 4 big ones: PSA, BGS, CSG, SGC. I've gotten multiple messages. It's been in comments, and it's not just from the same person. There's been a bunch of different people that have been like, hey, it's been a while. Can you do one again? Can you do one again? Hey, can you do this? So I might record one of those this week. Those take a little bit of time to research, and I need to pack and get stuff ready for the National. But I may try to get one of those up. Maybe that'll be Wednesday or Thursday's video leading into the National. I'll see if I can have some time this week to get that done for you all, since I got a bunch of requests for it. But hope to see you all at the National. If you're going, let me know in the comments down below. If you see me, please say hello. A lot of people are like, you look busy, you look whatever. As long as I'm not like actively in the middle of negotiating a deal, feel free to come up and say hi. Even if it's just, hey, love the channel, that's it, keep it moving. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Come up, chat. That's cool too. If you see me, please, please, please stop by and say hello. Catch you guys and girls in the next one. Hope to see you at the National. Peace.